Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you've landed on this video, I can only assume that you're an absolute beginner and you decided to become a plant mom or a plant dad, or you've taken interest into plants and want to know which plants you should get started with. Well, you came to the right video and the right channel. My name is Christian and I love plants. Disclaimer, I'm not a trained horticulturist or botanist by any means. I'm just like you and at one point doing exactly what you're doing right now, researching and learning about plants, which plants you should get started with as an absolute beginner. And pretty much I'm just here sharing my own personal experience when it comes to houseplants. There can't be a better time than now to get into plants. They add so much benefits into your home and into your life, from styling and decor to helping purify the air in your home and all the therapeutic benefits to your mind, body, and soul. And honestly, I don't know how I'd be able to keep sane during these quarantine times if it wasn't for my houseplants.
Still thinking about how we met. Yeah, I'm with you now. Oh, one thing that it's plain to see, the best thing in this life's for free, and that's so true now. And there I was with my world falling apart, hoping just to get by. I played it by heart, and now I sing. I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh, we're cruising down to Mexico. I'm turning up the radio, 'cause I'm with you now. You and me, we know that love is in the air, like the wind blowing through your hair. Oh, I'm with you.
The fear of any plant person is killing a plant, and my number one advice to you guys is don't be afraid to kill a plant, because chances are you will at some point during your houseplant journey. The first step is simply taking an interest in them, exactly what you're doing right now, doing your research online, watching a lot of YouTube videos, or checking out pictures on Instagram. To help you guys get started and lower your odds of killing plants and avoid that plant trauma, I'm here to offer you guys my recommendation on the 3 types of plants to start off with and 3 plants to absolutely avoid if you're a houseplant beginner. Let's start with the 3 types of plants to get. So I definitely recommend you guys to get the ZZ plants. So these guys are great for absolute beginners because they can thrive in any lighting condition. Whether you have low, medium, or bright light in your home, they'll do just fine. They also require very little watering. So for example, I water this guy maybe once a month. They tend to thrive better if you ignore these guys. So they are great simply because they're very low maintenance, and I honestly think they are very cool looking. I mean, come on, look at this. I know some of you guys are probably thinking and saying, hey, aren't those plants I see in the mall often? Yes, you do see these guys in the mall often, and that's because for the reasons that I just gave, they're very low maintenance, they can thrive in any lighting, and they require very little watering. I don't find these guys boring at all. They look so cool with these shiny foliage and these nice long stems with these leaves, and they also come in different varieties as well. This is a regular ZZ plant. They can also come in like a black leaves, which is called a ZZ Raven, or also a variegated kind. So you don't have to kind of stick with this. You can get different varieties, but I definitely recommend this if you're an absolute beginner. So the second plant I recommend is the snake plant or Sansevieria. So similar to the ZZ plant, these guys can thrive in any lighting condition and they require very little watering as well. So I have some of mine closer to the window, which gets a lot of bright light, and some that are further back, as well as I got one guy in the bathroom that gets no natural light at all and is doing just fine. I know you guys are probably thinking these snake plants look boring, you've seen them before, but one thing about Sansevieria is there's so many varieties of them. You can see here that I have a starfish, a samurai, a cylindrica, and this one is trifasciata. And my favorite Sansevieria that I have right now is the, ta-da, the whalefin. So guys, this is a beauty. Look at this, a statement piece. So if you don't want those basic looking snake plants, I recommend you get one of these, which is a Sansevieria whalefin. And again, very similar care to all pretty much when it comes to snake plants. Very little watering and can thrive in any lighting condition. I have these guys in bright light and I water them maybe like once a month, but you can see the beauty of the foliage, like how thick this guy is, and truly a piece of beauty. So you guys, again, can style this in your home, put it in a tabletop or on top of your dining room table or even on the floor. But definitely a recommended plant for any newbies is the Sansevieria and snake plants. All right, guys, so the final plant I recommend for absolute beginners is the, ta-da, the Epipremnum, or most commonly known as the pothos. So one of the reasons why I highly recommend this plant for absolute beginners is because taking care of this plant will give you a good foundation on basic plant care. Unlike the ZZ plant or the snake plants, this requires a little bit more watering, like every 7 or 10 days. It really does depend on the amount of lighting you give and the size it's in right now. They do well in any lighting condition, so if you have them a little bit closer to the window for bright light or a little further back for more of a lower light, they will be fine. The growth rate will vary depending on how much bright light you give, and the size of the leaves also will depend on that. That's what I mean when it comes to pothos, is it does teach you the basics of plant care, so you can experiment with your watering and your lighting. And these guys are pretty affordable and you can find them in your local plant shops or big box stores. So if you happen to kill one, it's okay, because you'll learn from it and apply those learnings on your next pothos. These guys also come in so many varieties like the Sansevieria. So I have here the golden pothos that I have training to climb up, and I'm gonna make this into like a floor plant. Or you can have them trailing like this neon pothos that's on top of my bookshelf, or the marble queen that's back there, or the pearl and jade that's also trailing on my bookshelf right here. So many ways to style your home with a pothos. You can either, so I've seen people put these against the wall and get it to climb up against the wall and even onto their ceiling. So I think that's beautiful. And like I said, these guys are so easy and they are perfect for beginners because these will teach you the basic fundamentals of plant care. So definitely recommend you guys get a pothos. So that is my 3 recommendation of plants for absolute beginners. Now I'm gonna list 3 types of plants that you should stay away from if you're an absolute beginner, because I'm gonna save you guys the trauma of killing these plants and also some money. So the first plant to stay away from if you're an absolute beginner are calatheas. And calatheas are known to have such beautiful foliage. They come in so many varieties. And there's a reason why I don't have one right now to show you guys, but I've had one in the past. I've had here an orbifolia, a lancifolia, and an ornata, and I love calatheas, no doubt about it, but they are so freaking fussy and very high maintenance. They require a lot of humidity and they're sold to be more consistently moist, and they are just very finicky. So I definitely recommend stay away from calatheas if you're an absolute beginner. So the next group of plants I would say to stay away from are those exotic tropical plants like a philodendron, a monstera deliciosa, or anthuriums. And these guys are beautiful and they're so attractive to have in your home. And yes, you may be tempted to want to bring one home, but they are also very expensive, and I never recommend absolute beginners to start off with these plants because they are a little bit tricky when it comes to caring for them. Not as tricky as those calatheas that we spoke about, but they are a little bit more high maintenance and not as forgiving as that of a pothos. Whether it's the type of light you give them, it has to be filtered, bright, and indirect. The watering, they're not as forgiving if you overwater or underwater. And the type of medium and soil medium you use, you can't just put them in regular potting mix as some of these plants. So definitely recommend that you stay away from these plants. And they are also very expensive. So if you kill one, it's gonna hurt, right? So the next plant I would say to stay away from is probably similar to the Calathea family. It is the, ta-da, the Maranta or prayer plant. So this guy is very similar to the Calathea, where their leaves fold up at night and it folds down during the day. Similar care tips in terms of high humidity, soil consistently moist, and making sure that sometimes you actually need to even use filtered water for these guys if you want the leaves to be beautiful. But I recommend staying away from these guys because they are easy to kill, especially if you're not used to lighting and watering, because these prefer more of a low to medium light. But if you're up for the challenge, then definitely give a Maranta or a prayer plant a try. That way you'll have a wide range of experience when it comes to basic plant care. Low maintenance plants like a ZZ and snake plants, something a little bit more regular like a pothos, and something a little bit more finicky and fussy like a Maranta. So that is my recommendation for plants to get if you're an absolute beginner, and plants to stay away from. from. I'm so excited for all of you to take on this plant journey, and I hope you continue it. Personally, for me, with my own experience, it is one of the most rewarding and fulfilling things I've done, especially during a time like this right now when we're self-quarantined and self-isolated. Having houseplants in my home kind of gives me a sense of escape from what's going on in the world and really just adds a lot of that therapeutic benefit. So I'm excited for you guys. Until then, good luck in your houseplant journey. Stay safe. Hopefully I see you guys in my next video, and enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.
Be